Welcome everybody to the 56th episode of the Odyssey Hour. We are once again all here for the second week in a row. So excited, so happy. Welcome everybody who is tuning in. I think I try to extend the intro as long as I can to get people enough time to get in here. Um, so before we begin, this is a special night. Yeah, for two reasons. One, we have an announcement, which anybody who watches the show, week after week, uh, already knows the hell we're going to talk about, um, or announce anyway. But the second reason is because at least for the probably the first half of the show, uh, it's not going to be just random topics and whoever chooses. It is going to be a pop quiz. I I had an idea, which I opened my mouth and told everybody else about it before I knew that it wasn't good. And so I had to scramble to make up for it so it looked like I knew what I was doing.
Okay.
So
All
I'm
right.
just I'm so basically 2 years ago, like almost literally right as COVID was hitting, I was interviewed for a college article in the U of M magazine. I can't even remember what the hell it's called. Um, and while going through emails this weekend, I found the list of questions that I was sent, and I was like, "Oh, I remember those. They were great. They were great questions. I'll pop quiz everybody, and that will be the show tonight." Well, then, with 15 minutes before the air, uh, I looked at the questions for the first time in like, a year and a half, realized that they weren't actually pop quiz type questions. So I spent 10 minutes writing out four random questions, and whoever goes first will get number one, whoever goes second gets number two, um, and so on. But they're the only ones that can answer unless there's something very specific and important that that person missed, and then if somebody wants to jump in and maybe throw in an added bonus, they're more than welcome to. So, but before that, we have an announcement. Is we have finally picked a date and location for our public presentation. First one that we have done since I think it was February of 2020. Lauren, you weren't even on the team at that time.
Mm-mm.
So we talked about this last week, and so right now, unless something goes haywire, and it shouldn't, our presentation will be Thursday night, March 3rd, and it's going to be at the Egan Community Center in the Lone Oak Room, which is very, very easy to find. It's right across from the front desk. Really can't miss it. But the Egan Community Center, if you've never been there, it's gorgeous. They spent a fortune building this thing. It's going to be great. So we're going to throw in a lot of new evidence that we have found. We throw in a lot of our really, really good evidence, and I'm thinking I might even throw in some like phenomenal EVPs that were pre-Odyssey. Although usually, the Odyssey presentations I like to be us. So we'll see how that goes. We'll leave that up to everyone. So it is going to start at 7:30 p.m. Go to 9. So we'll have presentation. We'll have evidence. We'll have Q&As. So if anybody has any questions that they would like to ask us live in person, everyone will be free to do so, and we'll go until we're kicked out. There's also going to be some great Odyssey merch available. So if you want to get one of your "It's Not a Demon" t-shirts that we have shown, they will be available. These nifty hats, whatever regular shirts, t-shirts we have, and hoodies as well. Minnesota Para-Unity tickets will also be on sale. And I'm thinking that I'm probably going to give away a pair. I need to find out how best to do that, whether it's raffle or drawing, something. Somehow, maybe I'll do it like a wedding bouquet, and I'll just turn my back and I'll just throw them behind me, and whoever gets them gets them. So, probably not, but you never know. So yeah, going to be great things there. Again, Thursday, March 3rd at in the Lone Oak Room at Egan Community Center. And we'll be talking about it more. I don't know why my pen just went flying. Apparently, I'm very excited. So,
exciting times. Exciting times.
It is exciting times. So, with that said, let's begin the pop quiz. So again, I came up with these 4 questions 15 minutes ago. So, we'll see if I better not stump any of you guys. That's all I have to say. They're not hard. One is exceptionally easy, but the other ones just require a little bit of explanation. All right, who wants to go first? Get question number 1.
Do we get a phone a friend and an ask the host?
Like no, this is not. No, this millionaire? Is not. Who wants to go?
Damn it!
Do we get a prize?
Your continued presence on the team.
Nice. I want the first one.
You want the first one. All right, here we go. What are 3 signs of EMF sensitivity?
EMF sensitivity? Nausea is definitely nausea. Why did I say it like that? Not nausea. Nausea is one of them. So dizziness and nausea. Auditory hallucinations, definitely. And headache.
I'll accept those 3. Does anybody else want to say any others? No.
I think those are the big ones.
Those are the big ones. Headache, nausea, hallucinations, rash is another one. I think those are the 4 main ones. There's a bunch of feelings of being watched. Is
paranoia.
Paranoia. That is one of the other huge ones. I think that's why everybody hates their basement. Mm-hmm. Why they always feel like somebody wants to watch them do laundry. I know I wouldn't spend my afterlife watching people do laundry, but that's me. Excellent. All right, who wants to go second?
Sure.
All right. Do 4
if the hardest one.
No, do 4 if you can. But at least 3. Name 3 or 4 different types of haunts and why. What are they?
Okay, 3 or 4. Well, the first one I think of is residual, which is just sort of like residual energy. It's not actually like a sort of active spirit. Typically, I think of residual sort of being like something that's kind of kept in like a loop, or might just be like footsteps you're hearing or like things moving around could just be residual energy in a place. Second one is intelligent, which is sort of like the antithesis, if you will, to residual, where it's like an active sort of intelligent spirit that is, it's doing things, could possibly interact with equipment with its own sort of conscious drive to do so. Third one would be maybe like a poltergeist, which I believe they're kind of just like, I think people kind of know what that is. Like it's sort of a, not to cop out, but like you know what the stereotypical sort of signs are. It's like they are sort of mischievous. They tend to feed off of your energy. So if you're really anxious about it, they're probably gonna be doing more things. I don't know if I can think of a fourth, like demonic, I guess, but as our quote is, it's probably not a demon. but
But
I guess I
it's a
don't
type
know.
of haunt.
It is a type of haunt. I don't know what the signs, I guess, would be of a demon, besides maybe possession is sort of the biggest one I think of.
We don't necessarily need the signs for it. It's just, what is it?
Oh, it's a demon.
It's not a demon unless it is.
Yes, it
That's
is.
all right.
No, for demonic haunt, that's pretty much all you really need to say. Demonic
It's
haunt
de-
is being
it's a
haunted.
You'll
demon there.
fucking know. Yeah,
Yeah.
the way to identify it is you'll fucking know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Really? Because nobody seems to. That's why
Yeah.
everybody thinks that everything is a demon.
They think they know, but they don't.
Yes, but you just said you're gonna know. And apparently that's not the case.
Yeah, apparently not.
But yeah, there are definitely separate signs to a demonic haunt than all the rest of them. Good. Anybody have anything more to add? Or maybe another type?
I guess maybe an addendum to poltergeist is that a lot of the times it can be like, I mean, people, it is theorized that it can be just psychic manifestations of a person and not actually a spirit. And that energy can then manifest into a spirit later. So it depends on what you want to call a poltergeist haunting. If you want to call an extremely active, rambunctious spirit a poltergeist, or if you want to do the, I think, actual term for poltergeist.
I would say, Haley, you're a little weak on your what is a poltergeist.
No, that's fair because I don't know how to answer it.
No, but see, that is a question and an answer that I cannot believe so many people in the field have such different answers for.
Yeah.
Like, people will take if an object moves, it's automatically a poltergeist. But that's not the case. I 100% agree with Sam. To me, a poltergeist is a psychokinetic, manifestation of a living person's like consciousness or energy, and over a long period of time, just almost like anywhere that just gets visited over and over and over again, and so much energy is put into it, it develops its own consciousness. But in a sense, a poltergeist is another example of an inhuman haunt, which is another type. Also would have accepted like haunted objects, elemental. Yeah. So, I mean, there are a bunch out there, but yes, you got it. But yeah, that's for poltergeist. That's just my thing. But I was shocked at how many different answers there seems to be for that one question.
Yeah, it's a tricky one to define, which is why I was kind of struggling to answer or to define it because I just had to go with what I think of, which is, like feeding off of energy and sort of the psycho sort of there's an emotional side to it sort of.
Yeah, there actually is, because over time, when it develops its own consciousness, it also develops its own emotional state, which usually takes off of the person who's feeding it. So I think that's why a lot of poltergeists end up starting to attack the person who created them, because usually it's guilt, it's anger, it's some sort of emotional turmoil within this person. And usually if they feel like they deserve to be like unhappy, they deserve to be attacked, they deserve to be hurt for whatever it is they're going through in their life, that poltergeist will take that and start to attack them. But I mean, that's why I think a lot of, you see Amy Allen a lot of times when it comes to a poltergeist, say take psychotherapy, take yoga, you need to see somebody to get whatever is going on out of your system. And then that will, over time, dissolve this poltergeist. All right. Who wants number 3?
I'll take it.
I always wrote this with you in mind, so you're gonna get this one.
Oh God. Okay.
No, easy. Name the 2 major rock types that is believed to hold the most energy.
Oh, let me tell you, it is limestone and quartz. There we go.
That is, as I said. So I was hoping you wouldn't get that one, but that's okay.
Here we
I
are.
would not have gotten that right.
Really?
Please
Well,
tell me more.
I love this theory because it's like the stone tape theory, and it's always based around like, I mean, like it can apply to like wood and like other like natural occurring materials, but it's mostly when it's stone, it's either limestone or quartz because they have a tendency to hold charges a lot easier. So it's very easy for that energy to like seep in, and then it just kind of like, residual energies are very much more likely to stick to those than any other material, is the theory. But
Yep.
I love that theory. It's so good.
The whole absorbing energy, let me tell you, does not work with VHS tapes. So, Grant Wilson was always a big thing. He's like, stick a cassette tape or a VCR tape underneath your pillow for a couple weeks or something like that. Then, it absorbs your energy, like as you're sleeping, as you do this, whatever, around it. And then you can like put it in the VCR and you'll be shocked at what you find. So I did that for a month. I actually went during this show. I don't know what episode it was. And while we were doing this show, bought 6 VHS tapes off of eBay. Completely forgot that they were even coming. So when they showed up like a week later, I'm like, what the F is this? And I'm like, oh, hey, my tapes. But yeah, did it for a month, slipped it into the VHS player, and nothing was there. So that was a month of sleeping underneath a pile of plastic shit for a month. So go me. But I disproved it. So there you go. All right, Scott, you ready for number 4?
Sure.
I think you're actually, I think this is probably more right up your alley anyways.
The answer is 42.
No? Well, then you fail. What are the most common claims of activity that typically have a natural explanation?
The most common forms of activity that have a natural explanation.
Yeah, that people freak out about, but they probably, we're as we talk as a team, we're like, it could be this, it could be that, and that has a natural explanation. But these type of claims always seem to be there.
I think hearing noises like footsteps and things that unexplained noises are often have a natural explanation to them. Electronics turning on or off can have a natural explanation to them. I have this light in my kitchen that's constantly turning itself on. Let's see.
One more. Come on, Scott, one more.
Sorry, I'm drawing a blank. Okay.
There's one very, very obvious one.
I can't think of it right now.
All right, I'll give you a lifeline. Does anybody want to throw in at least one more? Yes, Lauren.
EMF sensitivities. People think they're seeing or hearing things, and it's like EMF sensitivity. Was that the obvious one you were talking about? Because we just talked about that.
It was not, actually.
Oh, well.
But That'll work. I'll take that as another one. Wow.
I mean, orbs are probably dust.
That
Um,
is a pretty common one. People showing pictures like, "Oh, it's caught an orb." It's like, no, it's a piece of dust, bro.
and yes, Pam. The obvious one that I'm thinking of, no, does not start with an O. Although that is another very common one that often is misidentified, like hugely. No, well, the one I was thinking of was Knox.
Oh, like house noises and
House
shit.
noises, animals in the walls, that sort of thing. That was the obvious one I was going for. But
I said unexplained noises were that's
but you said like footsteps. So and
and any other kind of noises.
no, I'm not letting you be that vague. Need to be more
Okay.
more focused, more specific. But whatever. All right. Well, that's all I could come up with in 15 minutes. So
All right, who's quizzing Mike?
yeah, if you guys want to quiz me on a question, be my guest.
What are signs that it is a demon?
Oh Lord.
'Cause I feel like we don't talk about this. All we ever say is it's not a demon, but what would you say are signs that it is a demon?
So the funny thing about demon, and I don't know if this is on purpose or what, or maybe it's a Hollywood thing. They always seem to have the same playbook. They all seem to do the same stuff. When they build up, like they start with the shadow moving, enough to get you uncomfortable, and kind of wondering what is going on. Then once that is done, or it starts to fade away, like it doesn't bother you anymore, well, then they start with, like the cold spots, or they start with the whispers in your ears, or the nightmares, moving up to doors slamming and things moving. But all of those can be done by regular spirits. To me, once you start getting into demonic stuff, depends on if you've seen anything. Like if you have actually seen a full bodied apparition of what the person would consider a demon, I would consider that. Foul smells, the whole sulfur and trash and blood and that sort of thing. That's a big one. I think, even though again this can have a supernatural, non-demonic type explanation to it, but like personality changes towards like the violent, depression. If something, because demons typically like to go after people they can easily manipulate. Former addicts, people who are going through depression, probably bipolar people, things that they can take in your life and blow them up. But again, I think if you're not looking for those type of signs, you would just think that they slip back in their old habits. Shucks. I hope they get help. Like they don't. Not a lot of people would consider those things demonically influenced or even supernaturally influenced. I mean, it would take somebody looking for it, like us, or like a medium or somebody who, I guess that's their job, to try and squeeze out what's natural and what isn't. But yeah, I mean, obviously, possession is obviously another huge one. But that can take the form not so much like, when you look at them, they have black eyes or anything like that. If you have lost time, If you're sitting on the couch and all of a sudden it's 4 hours later and you're, at the supermarket and you have no idea how you got there, that can be a sign of a demonic presence, or the partial possession of it. But at that point in time, you have the infestation phase, you have the oppression phase, and then you have the possession phase. And I think if you can catch it during the infestation, you have a shot. Oppression's a little harder. Once you start getting into the possession, well, then you're calling in Reverend Michael Schrader, Bishop James Long, somebody that's not us to come and help, unless Scott feels that he's up for it. But so I guess that's my answer. I hope that passed.
A+.
Sweet. Thank
Ding.
you. All right. So for the second half of the show, we can go back to normal, I guess. Or, because I know, Lauren, you got your binder there.
Mhm.
I also, I do have, obviously, there's these interview questions that I was asked that have really nothing to do with like theory and stuff in the paranormal. But there are some decent questions that are all like based on your experiences that I could ask. But Lauren, why don't you go ahead and ask one?
Okay. Let me see. I have. Okay. So we always hear a lot when like we have a parent calling us, or like a concerned parent that's like on a TV show or whatever. They're concerned about their kids playing with spirits. So my question to you is, how do you vet through if they're actually in contact with a spirit or if it's just an imaginary friend? Because we know kids make imaginary friends. So like, how do you tell the difference? How do you know if this is seriously something we should get involved in, or it's just normal?
I think when I think about, I think something that I would do in trying to parse which is which is if the child is getting information they have no business knowing, right? Like, let's say you find like a historical connection to the house, like this certain person died in the house, and then like the child is giving details they have no business knowing. Like, I remember Robin from Ashmore was telling a story about a little girl that lived in a farmhouse down the street that made an imaginary friend of a little girl in a white dress. And this little girl knew details about the history of Ashmore that she had no business knowing because she was like 3 or 4 years old. No idea if that story is true or not, but that is what I would try to look for, is just, look for things that a 3, a 4, 5, a young child should not know, and things like that. And also, I think there's details in the descriptions as well, because a lot of the times, like, I feel like descriptions of imaginary friends, a child's going to change them from time to time, and it's just going to morph with them. Whereas I think in a maybe more paranormal situation, it's going to be a very specific description. And yeah, I think those are the two things that I would look for most.
And I'll just add to that with Sam. That the same thing has also been used as proof of reincarnation of a child when they have memories that they shouldn't have.
That's true. Like the 8-year-old that remembers what it was like being on the Titanic. Haley, did you want to add anything?
I don't know if I have anything as good to add as what Sam said, because those are really good really good answers. And what Scott added, but I guess like the only thing I could really think of is that spirits, I think like kids are more open to spirits, especially I think maybe when it comes to dreaming. So maybe if they're talking about like seeing this spirit appearing to them in their dreams or this imaginary friend in their dreams or with sleep. That could be interesting. Otherwise, I think the best way you're going to find out is just really observing your child when they're playing. Like, are they, I don't know. I feel like there's a factor with imaginary friends where kids kind of know they're imaginary, right? But with a spirit, it's probably going to be look a little different. I don't know how, but I would think that it would look a little different. So that might just be something like take a day to like really observe how your kid plays if you can.
There's a couple things that I would like to add to this one. The first one being, Sam and Scott and Haley are all correct. Those are all very good things to look for. I would pay attention to how your child describes their imaginary friend. Do they describe them as a little girl who plays tea with them and blah, blah, blah? Or is it, some old man named Jerry who's got blood on his shirt? How, and that has happened. He's like, who you're playing with, and I'm playing with Gerald. He told me that's what his name is, and he's got gray hair, and for some reason, he's got blood on his mouth, or whatever. Just pay attention to how they describe them. The second thing is, does anything happen that has nothing to do with this friend? Like, do toys go off? Is there any sort of activity that is not imaginary friend like centered? The third thing is just kind of the behavior of the child over time. Do they start to misbehave and then blame it on the imaginary friend? Do they change with their attitude, towards the parent? Do they get violent for no reason? And then say, let's just, I don't know, color Joan. I don't know, imaginary friend Joan. Joan told me to do that. Joan wants me to hurt you. Is the behavior in what the child says that deals with this imaginary friend not imaginary friend like normal? There's a lot of different ways to do it. If all the imaginary friend does is they play together, they have tea parties together, they play dolls together, and that is it, and nothing else happens, you're probably dealing with an imaginary friend. Because no spirit, at least ones with bad intentions, are ever just going to leave it at that. There's always going to be something else going on. There's going to be something bad happening. And honestly, just in my opinion, if you have a child spirit or something like that that has nothing but good intentions, have fun. If you're not out to hurt anybody, if you're just a lonely spirit who seems to have like a kindred connection to whatever this child is, or whoever this child is, fine. I would have no problem with that, as long as nothing bad ever happened because of it. What about you, Lauren? What do you think?
Yeah, I think, you guys hit like all the points that I was thinking of when I thought of this question, but what I think it comes down to is, your child best, and you're like, parents are usually the first ones to pick up if something's off or not. And I think like you said, if they have like a very vivid, detailed appearance that doesn't change over time, I think that might be like a maybe, especially if they have like blood or some like creepy like detail that a child that age should not be thinking of. That's definitely something to look into, because no child should be like dreaming that like they have a friend that has blood coming from their eyes or something like that. You know, like that's just not normal. That's not good. But yeah, I think it's also important to see, like, is there other like little things in the house that may be going on? Like, you know, take in all of the experiences that every member of the family might be having. Because maybe somebody else is having an experience and they don't really think it's so significant that they even say anything. It could be that too. But yeah, I think you guys hit on all the major points. I just think it's a really interesting thing because I think like it can easily get overlooked or it can get blown out of proportion, you know, like both ways. So I think it's a good topic to talk about.
The only thing that I would add to that, I agree with you that nobody's going to know the child better than the parent, but the parent is also, depending on how much they believe in the paranormal, they're going to be the first to dismiss it. They're going to be the first to be like, what is wrong with my child? As opposed to, is there something paranormal going on? So, I mean, I think that if it crosses that line into, this is not just a normal imaginary friend, you know, if the parent is open enough to be able to talk to a medium, talk to a paranormal team, you know, whatever, then they're going to be better off. As long as, you know, the paranormal team isn't everything is demon. Because there's there's almost no Reddit story on that site that says anything about a child spirit that somebody's not telling them to be careful because it could be a demon.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, it can, very rarely. But again, that's where you have to pay attention. What exactly is the child experiencing, and is there anything else going on? But that's tough. It's tough for a parent because they definitely don't want to. None of them want to believe that their child is in any danger over an imaginary friend. It's just, you know, whether they're able to admit that and kind of come to grips with that there's something, that there could be something else going on. And that's the big one. I don't have anything else to add to that one. Anybody else?
I don't.
Nope.
I don't remember anybody mentioning. But one thing that I've heard about is a parent saying, "Oh, I heard voices coming from my child's room, and I was wondering who we were talking to." And I walked in there, and she was having a tug of war with somebody who wasn't there, and somebody pulled the toy out of her hand, and there was nobody there to pull it out. You know.
Yes. That's actually, a very, very good point. I mean, I mean, if you are hearing somebody else, if you are seeing that's a place that somebody else should be, and there's nobody there, probably not an imaginary friend. At least I would hope not. I do have a topic I actually was going to bring up tonight before my wonderful pop quiz idea. Okay, so this has been a topic that has come up on the Odyssey Files the last couple weeks. And after Haley settles down with her phone. Sorry, every time you move it, we can hear it. That's all.
Hear what?
The movement.
Okay.
Anyway. No biggie. When let me see if I'm trying to phrase this as a question or a topic. So basically, you die, and you're now energy, but you're an intelligent spirit. You know what is going on. You know you're dead. Whether you're haunting somebody or visiting or whatever. Do you think spirits have the capability to show themselves or project themselves in any way that they want? Or do you think that, kind of like the Matrix, It's like the digital representation of how they were when they died. So, like, for example, if, my grandma was 97 when she passed away, if she wanted to come visit me or she wanted to project herself and I could see her with my naked eye, would she still be 97 or would she have the ability to show up as 35? The way she looked at 35.
Well, I would say that the spirit has the ability to appear any way they choose. And most likely, they are going to appear in the way that will make you feel most comfortable with them being there. If it's a relative or friend coming back, they want you to feel comfortable with seeing them. So they're going to appear to you in the way that you remember them best. And that will make you most comfortable. But they can appear in any way they choose. And they may appear to different people in different ways. They don't always have to appear in the same way. That's my answer.
Yeah, I would 100% agree with that. I think I remember I was talking to Sina, I think, and she said one of my spirit guides apparently presents herself as an angel because she knows that is the most comfortable thing I would see. Like, I'm the least likely to get like scared about it, So I do think that there is a lot of merit to that spirits can present themselves however they like. I do think to a certain extent they have to learn how to do that because like obviously you get the spirits that are like either they're stuck in their death state or maybe they, like we've talked about, like how like you're thrust into the spirit world and you probably have to learn a few things, because it's probably not just like, oh bam, everything. So I think it just kind of goes along with that. But I would assume since they're energy that they can kind of whatever they feel comfortable presenting themselves as, or maybe if they have bad intentions, they make themselves look scarier than they actually are. We have heard a lot of that before. So I think they can kind of control it.
So here's follow-up then. Since, let's just say I pass away, which would be horrible, horrible day. If I want, thank you, Sam. Nobody else agreed with me, but
everybody else agrees. Come on.
Yeah, we were just waiting for you to finish your sentence.
I was waiting for dramatic effect. So, if I wanted to show myself as Tom Cruise, Matthew McConaughey, Gabriel Iglesias, whoever, could I do that? And also, do you think that is a better explanation of, one, why we have fake celebrity deaths, and two, do you think that's a better explanation for doppelgangers? Could it be a spirit just effing with you? Because honestly, I would do that. If I passed away, Sam, you're going to see you walk through your room. Or
please no.
I'm just saying.
No.
I'm just saying. But do you think maybe that could be a better explanation for doppelgangers as to why people see themselves? Because there's some sort of mischievous spirit out there who wants to freak you out by showing up as you.
See, I was thinking about this question this entire time, and it really entirely depends on what theory you subscribe to in terms of the afterlife. Like, if you believe that your soul just like ascends or descends to another plane of existence and there's some sort of crossover that happens sometimes, maybe you believe that you pass on in the form that you have now and that's what you have. or if you believe that your spirit is just a ball of energy that gets returned to the universe after you die, you know, and you can order your atoms, you can order your whatever balls of energy into whatever you want. It entirely depends on that. But I think, I don't see the point of why most spirits would manifest as someone other than themselves, because if you return to a family member and you're Tom Cruise, they're just
I'm
going to
make a
think they're
family member
high.
very happy.
Yeah, they're just going to think they're like high. They will like know they're hallucinating because they're just like, why would Tom Cruise be in my living room? I just had like a bad experience. But if they see you in their living room, I think that's going to be more impactful, meaningful experience. But I can see that mischievous spirits would mimic other people. I think spirits can, but they don't do it very often unless it's to fuck with you, and I don't think that happens very often.
Okay. I honestly don't know that I buy that they change their appearance much in the afterlife. Because I feel like then wouldn't we be seeing more spirits that are like 25 and like skinny? Like why would people want to be showing up as their old? No offense to people who are old, but like why would people want to be showing up?
No offense, Scott.
No offense, Scott, but like I think my ideal form, I probably wouldn't show up as like, I don't know. I guess that sounds bad. But then, okay, like why would people want to show up as like 6-year-olds? Like I don't want to show up as a little helpless 6-year-old who like
I don't think anybody ever shows up as a helpless
can't
6-year-old.
reach like the top shelf.
Yeah, you don't believe in
Well, see,
child
that's where you
spirit.
just float up and people like freak out.
You think spirits can float now?
Of course they can float.
Okay. I don't know that I think they can float. That's okay. I don't know. But anyway.
The spirit at the opening of Ghostbusters was floating. Slimer was floating. Well, he was more
Oh, okay. You got
my
me there.
favorite paranormal documentary, Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Very
I'm just saying.
based
I'm just
entirely.
saying. Saw it in a Hollywood movie. Now it's fact.
You guys done?
Yes.
Okay. I guess I just don't understand. Excuse me.
Sam got it out before the show.
This is a disaster.
I don't even know what the hell my answer is. I guess I just don't think it makes a ton of sense to me. I just don't get why, like, if you pass away, why am I suddenly having like shapeshifter abilities? I don't have that now, but I guess that I'm not a particularly. I guess I don't believe that the afterlife is all that much different from the now life, and that's just my opinion. But I do like what Sam said about like. Unless it's like a really mischievous spirit, I don't get why they would want to come back or like appear as, ScarJo or whatever they want to appear as. So that would be funny. Let's be real.
Scarlett Johansson just in your living room.
Yeah.
Hi.
I mean, what would I appear as? That's the question. Now that's the part 2. If you could appear as anything as a spirit, what would you be? Anyway, you don't have to answer that, but this is not a good answer.
Slender Man. I would appear as Slender Man.
This is one of my
like the Slender Man myth. That's what I would
top. Do. Okay, this is one of my top 5 most bad answers on the show. So,
I'm gonna go through the archive and we're gonna make the compilation of Haley's top 5 worst answers.
When someone makes the compilation one day when we're like super famous, it'll be like Haley's top 5 messiest answers, and this will be like number 1. Okay.
But they'll say she never looked more comfortable giving it.
I don't have a desk, so I have to do this from my bed.
I understand. Okay. All right. That's it. So who had something else to add? Not so much to this question, but pick another one. I know I kind of, was like, hey, we got this big pop quiz. So
Yeah, that's kind of what happened. I just was like, oh, I don't have to think about a topic now.
Well, all right. So
Wait, Meg, did you answer that question though?
who would
the
I
one you
be?
just- No, like, what are your thoughts on if spirits can change their appearance in the afterlife?
I think they can, but I think Scott's right. I think if they're trying to visit a loved one, then it's going to be in the form that person is going to recognize. I do like the question of the doppelganger though, because I that actually makes me think. The whole fake celebrity death, that was just a joke. But if I wanted to do it and I knew how, I totally would. I don't know who I would try to fool into thinking that this person was dead, but I would like walk by them semi-transparent so that they for sure would know that I was a ghost. And then they would freak out and be like, that person's dead. So that'd be like a president of a fan club or something like that. But yeah. Yeah, for me, I would probably just keep my face the same and then slim down a little bit. So maybe some buffer shoulders or something like that. Maybe an Austrian accent. So
Austrian or Australian?
Well, the whole like big buff, everybody thinks of Arnold Schwarzenegger, and that's
Okay.
Austrian.
I was just like, I was making sure that's what you really wanted.
Well, I mean, that's not what I really wanted, but I figured that everybody would get that reference as opposed to, I want to be British. So, type of thing, because women love a British accent. So,
Arnold.
Pump you up. Yeah, just be like, Lauren, I've come to visit you.
Oh God. Well, if I hear Arnold Schwarzenegger now, I know who it is. Not him.
So, I think that would be great, actually.
Mike, I will be waiting for you to appear as Arnold.
There we
after
go.
You pass away.
Expected in the first 3 weeks.
Okay.
You will each have a dream of Austrian me. Like, I am okay. I am pumped up. So, anyways, no, but yeah, I think Scott's dead on when it comes to how people. Yes, there you go. That's what I needed to say. Thank you, Pam.
I'll be back.
I'll be back. No.
Those have to be your last words before you die. And then when you come back, then you can really capitalize on that iconic line.
I guess if I actually got to choose what my last words were, I don't think they would be "I'll be back," especially not in an Austrian accent. Like I would think that I would have more important things to say than a famous movie line.
See, I think that's entirely on brand for you.
Yeah, it sounds, yeah.
I'm not saying leading up to my final words, I would not throw out movie quotes, but as my last words, no. Because they're my last words.
One of your last words.
One of my last words. But I still don't think it would be "I'll be back." It'd probably be something like Spaceballs or something. May the force be with you, something like that. But I'll make it clever. I promise you I'll make it clever.
We know.
Thank you. Your faith in me is very much appreciated.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I have
Lawrence,
something I can talk about.
Say what?
I have something I can talk about.
Do it. Do it.
I will.
Do
Okay.
it, Doug.
I sent this in the group chat but I wanted to make sure that all the people of the world, because everybody in the world is watching this,
Naturally.
know that the Minneapolis Institute of Art, starting on February 19th, is going to be having a exhibit on paranormal art, paranormal American art, which I think is going to be so cool.
We'll be there.
Yeah, it
We'll
says, the description says America is haunted. Artists from the late 1800s to today introduce mystical realms where our intangible past, present, and future meet. I have no idea if it's free.
Probably
I doubt
not.
it.
Usually,
I mean-
usually exhibits like that cost like $5.
Yeah, the Institute of Art to get in is free, but the exhibit
Yeah.
probably costs money.
More than
But
likely.
yeah, are you guys looking forward to it? Like, what kind of art do you want to see?
I
am
want
very
to
much-
see all the artist renditions of orbs.
Yeah,
See, I think it's gonna range from like gothic, like haunting sort of kind of horror-esque paintings to like literally kind of fantasy worlds, I think. But it's gonna be very interesting to see, you know, how quote unquote realistic some of the depictions are. I'm just a fan of like gothic, like horror art, to be honest. So if it's like spooky art or whatever, I'm going to be a fan of it because I just like the kind of dark, drab, dreary aesthetic in art sometimes. But the Institute of Art is a really good museum. I've been to the Met in New York and the Art Institute in Chicago, and the Art Institute in Minneapolis is a pretty good art museum, and it's very well organized. So I'm excited to go back there.
I'm looking forward to seeing a big ass portrait that is pure black, and all it says is investigator perspective during the investigation.
Mike, you could make that and submit it.
maybe a very, very, very faint outline of a hand, like right, because we all in the dark wave your hand in front of your face just to see if you can see it. I do, but
It's a good idea.
yeah. So I think I'm looking forward to that one, and we'll see if it's there. But yeah, we're definitely going to go. I don't think we can't. Plus, I know I definitely want to talk with somebody there about investigating.
That would be so cool.
Yes, it will. Okay, well, I mean, obviously, if there's nothing else, I would like to revisit the announcement from the beginning of the show for anybody who came on halfway during. We announced at the beginning of the show, March 3rd, which is a Thursday at 7:30 p.m. in the Lone Oak Room of the Egan Community Center. The entire Odyssey Paranormal Society team will be doing a public presentation. We'll be taking any of your questions if you have any. We'll be showing a bunch of our best evidence throughout the last 6 years, maybe even a little before. So it's going to be a great presentation. We'll have all of our merch there. We'll have Minnesota Para Unity tickets there if you would like to purchase them. And like I said, I'm going to find some way of giving away at least a pair. So come and maybe get a free pair of tickets to the convention September 29th through October 1st. So anybody have anything that they would like to finish up with?
Just one.
Yes, Scott.
I just looked up the exhibit at the Institute of Art, and it is $20 admission.
Ah,
It's not terrible.
Better be a big exhibit, and I'd better see my big black canvas. So otherwise, I'm going to feel
I guess
cheated.
we'll see. We're gonna have an extended review in our
True.
episode after
And
the
it's-
visit.
and it-
So
Episode dedicated to it.
Yeah.
That's right. And if we're allowed to take photos, we'll take some photos, and I'll be able to share the screen, and we will critique different
Actually sounds
things.
fun. That sounds
Yeah.
fun.
Of course,
Because we have so much art, knowledge.
yeah. You know,
These are my
those-
paintings.
Yeah,
It's from a paranormal investigator's perspective. We have
That's
knowledge
true.
in our field. Okay.
True.
yes.
Okay.
And you know what they say? Those who can't teach. And I can draw stick figures. So I obviously know a lot about art. I can talk about art till the end of the world. So watch for that. Join us for that. All right. Well, that does it for us. Thank you everybody for joining in this week. We'll be back next week with another amazing episode. So stay healthy, stay safe. I want to see you back here next week. Everyone, have a great night.